Go ahead, baby. Huh? One, two, three.
All right, all right. Welcome again to another fine episode of the Entrepreneur Chamber podcast. As always, we like to welcome all our listeners, all our members, and all our constituents. As always, one of your co-hosts, myself, Sosa for the people, and my brother in arms, my brother I Just. What's going on, I?
Hey, peace, Sos. I'm doing well, my brother. How about yourself?
Doing well, doing well, man. We got a good episode today. We're going to talk about adversity, adversity in business. So anybody who's been in business and you've had some adversity, us and listen to some of our adversity, some of our war stories, and hopefully they'll be a blessing to you, like they were a lesson for us.
Dealing with adversity as a small business owner, it certainly could be challenging. But for our viewers and our listeners, they're fortunate because we're going to help them find several effective ways to handle the situation. So let's rock, man. Let's dive right into it.
All right, adversity in business. So when we say the word adversity, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, I think what comes to my mind is our challenges. So, like if, for example, as we call in the hood, man, a monkey wrench got thrown my way. You know what I'm saying? Things kind of were going nice and smooth, and then you face a bump in the road, as some
Yeah.
may call it. You know what I mean? And the thing is that how did you deal with that bump in the road, especially if it's unexpected? So there are different types of adversity when I think of it. There's expected adversity where you kind of project it, you see things coming down the line. An example would be if you have a contract, I don't know, you're at a 2-year contract and you're set to expire at that 2-year contract. Well, that's some type of adversity that you forecasted or you saw that was coming one day. And then there's the unexpected adversity. So, you think of if you have at one, for me, in being in commercial cleaning, if I have an account and I have 3 or 4 custodians at that account, and for whatever reason, 3 of the 4 custodians get sick, then I'm dealing with adversity as far as cleaning goes, and that was unexpected. I did not expect that, those cleaners were going to be sick that particular day. So, I know that when I think of adversity, I think of unexpected. I think of things that may be projected or forecasts that are going to happen. But at the end of the day, adversity to me are challenges, bumps in the road that you're going to face in life and in business.
Yeah. I think when I think of adversity, I look at it like this. You know what? I think if you're a business owner, right? I think adversity kind of is a great indicator of whether or not you have what it takes to make it in business. I think it's probably one of the best measuring sticks that you could actually go through because adversity in business is inevitable. A lot of times, especially when we first start out in business, we're not quite prepared. We don't even see the adversity that may come. But once you get into business and once you're in there, when start getting your thing going and your business is up and running, you start to realize that adversity comes. But I feel as though adversity is something that every business owner, I don't care whether you're a small business, a mom and pop business, or a large, huge corporation, or you're one of one of the biggest, companies in the country, like Amazon or Walmart or one of those companies, you're always going to face some kind of adversity. But I think, especially for our small business owners, once you get that adversity, you're going to realize right then and there whether or not you have what it takes because your ability to manage and navigate those adversities are going to be the most telltale sign whether or not you'll be able to survive in business because if you can't handle that adversity, it's going to gobble you up. But what happens is the more and more adversity you go through in business, the more used to it you become. The more used to it you become, I think the better you are and more equipped you are in handling it.
And I think that's an excellent point because often when you and I build on these episodes, we often let people know about the particular mindset that one needs to have, or you should look to have while you're in business. And, that's being optimistic and knowing that you're going to deal with adversity, challenges, setbacks, roadblocks, speed bumps. And, how do you intend to deal with it? Are you going to be one that are stuck on the problem, or you're going to identify the problem and then work towards a solution? Because at the end of the day, those challenges can certainly be turned around and be opportunities for you to grow. So I think that once you look at it in a particular mindset, it also allows you to stay positive and embrace a growth type of mindset.
Yeah, I really feel that, your perspective and how you look at things plays a major part in not only who you are, but in how you're going to handle these type of situations, or how you handle mostly all situations. Because it's real easy. I mean, listen, to look at things negative, or to be negative, or to be like all down and down about things, that is really easy to do. That is a lot easier than to have a positive outlook, or to look at it from a positive perspective. I mean, me personally, I operate not only business, I operate my life, I operate who I am, always kind of in the same way. I'm always looking at the glass half full. I'm never looking at the glass half empty. I'm always looking at, if a problem arises, I'd rather look at myself and look at, even if I feel as though it really wasn't my fault, I still always look at, it's always an opportunity for you to do an evaluation on yourself, your business, and everything, everything about you, everything, that circumferences who you are and what you do. And I always think it's a great opportunity to kind of take stock of yourself and kind of look at, okay, where do I need to improve at? What could I have done differently if this situation arises again? What can I do to kind of get ahead of this so this problem doesn't arise again? So I think a lot of it is how you think, because the more positive, to me, I just feel is that if positive is an energy. Positive is a huge energy source. Positivity is a huge energy source. And if you know how to kind of use that and kind of rein that in, it could help you out so much. It'll make you feel better inside. And not only that, it'll make you deal with your problems in a lot more, I feel constructive way. I really feel like positive. First of all, there's two things that I think that can determine, because talent, systems, all that is great, right? But I could have the same comparable talent, give them the same exact system, and there's a good chance that that task or that job is going to come out totally different. Because to me, I feel like the two most important components that a lot of time we fail to see are that, and I think these two components will make the difference between winning and losing, right? Between happiness and sadness. And that is and success and failure. And to me, that is your attitude and and how you think, and whether you're thinking positive or you're thinking negative. I really do feel as though that those things that could be the difference from winning and losing. That could be the difference from succeeding in business and failing in business. And so when we face adversity, it's all about, we always talk about our mental, because your mental has to be right to be able to deal with some of the adversity that you're inevitably going to find when you're in business.
And I think that when you highlighted that, just to reel the listeners back in and let them know how inclusive that is, because again, your perspective and how you look at that adversity, which is going to happen, is something that's written in, is going to happen. Whether you're going to have a positive outlook or a negative outlook, and that's just the reality of it. So as we speak about adversity in this particular podcast episode, a part of dealing with, and these are the things that you and I are talking about. So we often may identify a problem. In this situation, it's adversity. But Sosa and I often move right into solution mode and provide the listener with effective ways or solutions that you can deal with adversity in your business. Some may even transfer to your personal life. And I think for us to start it off with, your mindset is the perfect segue, because that now becomes your perspective.
Yeah,
And then
that's
that
agree.
perspective becomes your reality. So if you're going
Agree.
to have that perspective and it's going to become your reality, so you're either going to look at it realistically in a positive way or in a negative way. We're both
Right.
kind of hitting on that as far as dealing with adversity.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Engage with other business owners. Join industry networks, or hire or seek out a mentor in business. Someone who can provide you with some type of guidance and
Yeah.
support during the tough times. Networking with like-minded individuals can provide fresh perspective and insight, which can help lead you to innovation.
I think that two words come to mind. First of all, adapt and overcome. You have to be you have to get your adaptability up. You have to be able to be adapt. You have to be like a chameleon. You can't get so stuck up. I mean, at the end of the day, it's when you're in business, man, it's a bottom line business. So to me, I'm not going to rule anything out if it's legal. You know what I mean? That's just me personally. I'm not. I'm going to take whatever I can do as long as it's in a ethically correct way, and it's something that isn't going to harm anyone or my business or anyone or anyone else. I'm going to find whatever that solution is. So I think, to me, the words that come to mind are adaptability. You have to be able to adapt and overcome. That's not only in business. I mean, I would suggest that that's a saying that holds true in any walk of life. In life, just like in business, we're all going to be faced with adversities at one time. It's part of life. So just like it's part of life, it's part of business. So the better that we become at being able to overcome our challenges, the better we'll be able to, in our personal lives. I believe that we'll be that more better in our business as well. You have to be flexible. You have to be flexible as well. You can't be just stuck in one way, or you have to be flexible and being able to, like how Brother I was saying, when you seek that advice, when you seek those professional opinions, you got to be willing to look at those opinions and kind of apply them to your own thinking in your business, and see if it's something that would work, and be willing to to step outside of your box, to try something new, or try something that you weren't really knowledgeable about, but it can certainly make sense and can certainly help you in the future. And myself, we're in business. Obviously, we had some adversity that we
Just recently.
just went through last week. So,
Um,
without getting into specifics, but we had one account, and some merchandise was broken, right? And we thought it was something, doesn't cost that much at all. But then when we looked, once the owner told us what it was, it actually had a comma on it. It was like over like $1,000. So now this became, now okay, this is adversity. Now, luckily, our company has a well-established relationship with this business. So they didn't, hold us against you. They made a deal with us and how we can, resolve the issue. But I would also say that I think one of the key components of why we were able to get through that adverse situation was the professionalism of our company, the professionalism of our worker, and the professionalism of the co-owner of this company, which is my wife, who does a tremendous job in establishing relationships with the customer and being extremely professional. And I think that went a long way. That if we weren't handling our business in the manner in which we do, I think it would have been a totally different outcome. So that's another thing that I would suggest to any business owner is, each and every day you're being judged. Your business is being judged. You got to take it each and every day, like every day is a test. And it's not oh, okay, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it great because everybody's looking, and then when nobody's looking, I'm just going to go do it this haphazardly way. No, you do everything the same way every time, You teach your staff. You train your staff to do everything professionally the same way each and every time. And then what happens is day by day, brick by brick, moment by moment, you're building up. What you're really building up is you're building up an equity of responsibility or equity of trust. And so a lot of times that can help you get through some situations that may arise, especially between you, the owner, and your customer base.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of that is just maintaining a open communication. And sometimes it just may be differences that, like in my situation, where it's a amicable resolution or separation of services. So, even in our situation where a customer did not renew the contract with us on one cleaning account, the good thing about that is that we understood the whole time that we maintained a open line of communication, even through their different management companies, because we've been there for probably about close to 4 years. But in
Mm-hmm.
that situation, they probably changed management maybe about 5 times. So
Mm.
we got to know every time somebody new came
That's
along.
tough. That's adversity
Yeah,
right
that
there. That's
right,
adversity
right.
right
That's
there.
adversity right there. But we always give our listeners real life examples and challenges that we face in business in the way in nuance on how we may deal with it. Now, your situation as a listener may be similar or it
Yeah,
may not be, but there's always something you can get out of what Sosai and I are sharing with you that can certainly help you along the way in business. And it kind of leads me to say, man, a part of dealing with adversity as well is taking care of yourself. I think sometimes when uh, some of us are dealing with adversity in business in particular, it becomes like a snowball effect. So stress begets stress. You
yeah,
start to go down this wormhole of stress, and that's just not good. You don't want to try and be
definitely.
dealing with solutions when you're stressed. Sometimes you just have to, again, take a step back, like Sosa was saying. If you learn from all your lessons, those are actually training modules that prepare you for the next time you deal with some form of adversity.
Yeah,
So, think of things like, if you're an NBA player and they done practice so many foul shots, to the novice, they may wonder when the game is on the line, high score, 1 second left, person like Steph Curry go and hit 2 clutch free throws. Because to him, he like, I'm not stressed over these 2 clutch free throws. I've been through this so many times. I've learned,
right,
from in practice, how
right.
to calm my nerves and not allow the situation at hand that the score is tied and this is game 7 of the championship or whatever. And, he could bring it home. He not allowing that moment to, get him out of his zone. And that's the
Yeah,
same approach that we should take as business owners, that don't allow those single moments to get you
yeah,
out of your zone, because one thing I've learned for sure in business, there are a lot of moments. I don't
yeah.
care if you want to call them negative moments, good moments, bad moments,
But they're
whatever you want
moments.
to call it.
But
But
they
at the end
moments.
of the day, man, business has a lot
And they're
of
moments.
moments, man.
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
look,
So,
I'm glad that you spoke about about yourself, taking care of yourself, things like that. I think, um, that's a great point. And there's something in our financial business, that me and my wife have. When you're dealing with finances, there's a saying that goes, consistency over time equals success. Like consistency plus time equals success, or consistency over time equals success. Well, I also think that consistency over time equals integrity. Well, consistency over time also builds up responsibility, also builds up trust. And I think once you can build up that trust, what happens is that right there will allow you to be able to navigate some of these problems, like the situation that we had last week, because we've been consistent. That we not only is our company building success, but we're also building responsibility. Now we're also building integrity. We're also building confidence within our customer to know that, okay, that was just a
Competence.
mistake. Right, that was just a mistake. That's not what they do, because they've been doing this for so long that just is an anomaly, because they give us the same thing over and over and over. And that also, holds true in our life. The more consistent that we are, right, it'll be able to, and it goes back to what you were saying about taking care of yourself. If you're consistent within yourself, if you're not too high, you're not too low, when that adversity comes, you'll be able to handle it a lot better. If you're one of those guys that get real caught up when things are going great, you're feeling great, and when things are going bad, you're feeling low, then there's no consistency in your own self. And I think that will really go such a long way in helping you navigate some of these issues that are going to come up every time, or every now and then, or it's really consistently is going to come up in business. If you're in business, problems, adversity, situations are going to happen. It's inevitable.
So as we continue to provide our listeners with strategies and effective ways to handle adversity, we also think about that you may have to review and adjust your business plan, assess your current business situation, identify areas that you may need to make adjustments. I had to do that myself, and it may
Yeah.
even come down to your number one resource in business, which is your employees.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, part of your revising of your current business plan may be temporary layoffs, and in that interim, you should be looking to strengthen your weaknesses. And even if you restructure the way you do business, because another example is, so it's the way you may have been under a model 4 or 5 years ago, based off of account you got 4 or 5 years ago, may not stand true to today because of the new type of accounts you may have today. So I think of in my situation, 4 or 5 years ago, I had a handful of huge corporate offices, where now it's more smaller locations, more in abundance. So I'm running under a business model where we're dealing with 15 people at one location, where now those same 15 people may be spread across, I don't know, 4 or 5 locations. That
Yeah.
almost changes the way you got to think about business. So
Yeah.
sometimes when you're dealing with adversity, again, it goes back to what Sosa said in the very beginning. It's your perception, how you're going to look at this. Let's remain positive, because it can give you an opportunity where for you to review and adjust your business plan, to assess your current business situation where you may have not done it in the last year and a half. Guilty. That's me right there.
Yeah.
Sometimes the universe has a way of forcing you to do things that you may have been kind of putting off for a while. So I think it's important to adapt your strategies,
Yeah.
marketing approaches, or even products and services to meet changing markets and demands. And it goes back to what So said, is overcome. You have to overcome those obstacles. These are the moments that's going to make you in business. When you hear about those that make it, kind of the common denominator of what they say, and it's very, very simple for all of our listeners: I never gave up.
That's it. That's it. And
Never
also,
gave up.
never give up. Never. And
I
also,
never
too,
gave
just
up.
just to give like an example, another example. So during the pandemic, we've been talking a lot about our mindset, about being adaptable. Being able to keep your composure and having some adaptability. So when the pandemic came, this is funny. So I had my company we already had electrostatic machines, right, for about 5 years before the pandemic ever came. 5 or 6 years before the pandemic came, they came up with this new technique in the cleaning industry, electrostatic machines. So I bought one of those things, and I would always try to sell it to my customers. They never wanted anything with it. They say, I would try to add it into the service. Oh, listen, I give you the service, and we can add this to the service. No, no, they didn't want to pay for it, right? So then the pandemic comes, right? Some of my clients are shutting down, or they're closing their doors, right?
Right.
So this could have created a huge problem, but this is why, for one, keeping your composure, right? Being able to adapt and overcome, and being flexible. This all showed its face at this particular time, because now my company, it's like Brother I just was talking about, you have one business model. My whole business model basically changed through the course of the pandemic. We had to pivot and change, do a total 360 on how we were handling our accounts. So now, luckily we had these electrostatic machines. That became a huge source of income at that time, and really not only kept our company afloat, but kept our company thriving. Now, if we wouldn't have had that, or if we weren't willing to be, and it also speaks to always, what Brother I just was saying, always take time to analyze your business. Always take time to research and try to learn new things and new ways and new nuances of doing things within your particular industry. Just basically constantly always try to keep sharpening your sword, because you never know when it's going to come into play. So if we weren't ahead of the curve and already knowing about this information, if we would have been trying to grab the electrostatic machines at that point, we probably would have missed a whole lot of money. We wouldn't have been prepared. And trust me, I know, because we tried to get another machine during the and it took a while for here, but luckily we already had machines so we could still service these accounts. But if we weren't ahead of the curve on that, that would have created a huge problem. So I think a lot of times, so when I think about, to me, when I think about adversity in business, I think you got to be able to adapt and overcome. You got to have your mind right. You got to be able to always maintain your composure, and you got to always be able to think outside the box. And you always got to maintain a positive outlook, and always be willing to analyze your business. I mean, when your business is not doing as well, and your business going through a bit of the downtime, that to me is a perfect time to really start analyzing your business, where you can improve at, what areas can you focus on to maybe bring in more revenue, kind of do an evaluation, not only of your business, but more importantly of yourself. And you have to be honest with yourself. You got to be willing to criticize yourself. And at the end of the day, don't get caught up in that, because at the end of the day, man, and a lot of times I hear people, somebody will give a critique, or my brother I just will give me a critique, or I might give him a critique, right? And sometimes people don't take critique very well. But one thing that I've always learned, and this is something that I learned in sports, and it holds true. It is so true. My coach, because when I was a kid, I used to get mad when the coach used to criticize me and critique me. But he said, "Hey, Ambrose, come here. There's no need for you to get mad about that, because if I didn't, listen, you need to worry about when I'm not criticizing and critiquing you, because that means I don't see anything in you. If I'm criticizing and critiquing you, it's because I see much more in yourself that you even see within yourself. I believe in you. That's why I'm trying to help you." So a lot of times, man, be able to take critique in a positive manner, and be able to critique yourself in an honest and positive way, and don't look at it as something negative. Only look at it as something positive that can only help you and help build your character, help build your person, and all that will only help you be more successful in business.
Man, I think that is so profound, because it just goes right back full circle, 360 degrees back to, staying positive, and when you're dealing with adversity, whether you're dealing with good times, it doesn't matter, to the best of your ability, maintaining a positive outlook, because positive energy activates constant elevation. It allows you to see things with a clearer mind, versus if you're in a negative state, and you're
Yeah.
not dealing with it appropriately, and then you start to outlash at those around you, your family, your coworkers, your employees, your customers, what have you, your subordinates, what have you, so just keeping that positive attitude, I think, is very important in helping a small business owner, one who is self-employed, an entrepreneur, whether you're an investor, just knowing that adversity is part of the road that is under construction that we call running and operating a business. So another thing, component, another component, another intangible that one would want to consider, so as far as effective ways of handling adversity is, and this is something even when you're not dealing with adversity, what you should be doing quite naturally anyway, is managing your finances wisely. Especially in times of adversity, it is crucial to have a tight grip on your company's finances. Evaluate your expenses, reduce unnecessary costs. So, part of my adversity that I dealt with, if a customer does not renew a contract, and in the interim, I have not gained a new contract to replace that contract, one of the first calls I make is to my bookkeeper. And then I sit down with my bookkeeper. And now she has to understand that, the gross revenue has changed. So without, starving the company, but where can we, make some adjustments and reduce costs to stay in cohesion with what my gross revenues are, because that will help you
Yeah.
relieve and eliminate the stresses of dealing with adversity in your business, because then now you have more balance in your business. Your expenses is not up here and your gross revenue is down there.
Yeah.
You want to have it more in line. Sometimes it's like this: your gross revenue is up here and your expenses is down here. And then we all want to get that phone call from our
Yeah.
CPA that say, hey, listen, before you file your taxes, you need to go spend a bunch of money. You know what I mean?
I mean, listen, that's a great point. First of all, that's a great point what you're talking about, because the number one adversity at the top is money. Is the revenue. So
It's
if you
revenue.
ain't creating no revenue, talk about it, some adversity, you might lose
Talk
your
about
composure a
adversity.
little bit if you don't have that revenue coming in. So I think you made a great point,
Yeah.
in knowing your company's finances, because yeah, in those lean times, or those times where business is kind of moving slow, it is, a wise man, builds up his seeds in the down season. You know what I mean? And in the flourishing season, he builds up his seeds. He builds up his resources. He builds up his resources,
Right.
because in the lean times, guess what? He can go to that warehouse, or go to those extra resources to help kind of to help get you through those lean times. So I think that's a great point what you're saying. Like, once you're finding your company finance and you have a better grip on it, when your business is doing slow, your doors of your business won't shut down, because you're already prepared for that. You've already prepared your business for that. If a downturn does come, you'll be able to weather that storm. And then when you're flourishing again, a lot of us in business, man, when we're flourishing, that's a time when we're trying to spend all the money, and we're trying to, do everything. But that's really a good time to really put some money up in your business, or reinvest in your business. So therefore you can provide more services, or just make your overall business just more profitable, and more importantly, more increase its opportunity for growth.
Mhm. Absolutely, man. And you know, as we speak about adversity and prioritizing, and we need to focus on what we can control. Certain circumstances are certainly going to be beyond our control, beyond your control, but identifying what aspects of the situation you can influence will help you channel certain efforts where they matter most in your business. And just concentrate on those tasks, prioritize your resources, and ensure that you're efficiently allocating your time to the most crucial areas of your business, and I think that will help our listeners deal with adversity in a more effective way, because at the end of the day, adversity is paved on the road to success. Is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I don't know any road that's under construction as far as being a business owner and they're looking to be successful. Like you said in the monologue in the beginning, that you're going to deal with adversity. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have roadblocks. You're going to have ups. You're going to have downs, but it's that even killness that we are looking to maintain. So therefore, we're able to navigate through the
That's
ups
right.
and the downs with a level head, make conscience, intentional decisions
Yes.
because you're aware.
Yeah.
So if you even go back and listen to all of our podcast episodes for all of our listeners, it always come back to this, and what Sosai and I always speak about is the opportunities for you to learn about yourself and learn about your business. And adversity is another educational tool.
That's right. Listen, this is the entrepreneur. This is the Entrepreneur Chamber podcast, ladies and gentlemen. As always, go to YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. We're two business owners, and we're not talking at y'all. We're talking with y'all. Drop comments. Drop some of your adversity that you may have faced in your business. Let us know what they are. This is a community, y'all. This is something that we're all in this together, trying to help each other. So, if you have any issues, any problem, man, drop it in, or join our Facebook group, our Entrepreneur Chamber group. Talk about these issues, man. We're always willing to talk about. Like I said, these are conversations that me and this brother have. We would be having this conversation today, whether we were on air or off air. We just happen to
That's
be
right.
on air, and you guys are joining in the conversation with us. And this is what we do. This is the actual intention of this podcast, and this is why we take the time out of our busy days to provide this avenue and this source for you, for all of you that are trying to get into business or already in business.
That's right, man. So for all of our listeners out there, just if you're a small business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you're an investor, you're self-employed, just remember that adversity is often a natural part of running a small business, and it can serve as a catalyst for growth and learning. Stay resilient, my people. Remain adaptable. My brother So said, remain flexible and continue to believe in your business and its potential, because all things is possible. We just want to get from what's possible and move it over to what's probable. And that is that success that we're all rooting for, that I desire for myself, and what I desire for my brothers and my sisters, especially of the Black and the Latino community. But overall, to business owners, no matter what your background is and whom you are, we wish you success.
Very well
So,
said. Very well said.
yes, sir. So, anything else you'd like to add on this topic, Sos?
No, I think just to recap, I think we spoke about what to try to help you in the problems and the adversities you're going to face. We talked about having a positive mindset. We talked about being adaptable, just like we just said, being flexible. Um, you know,
Seeking support and advice.
seeking support and advice, doing a like a health check, basically, of your
That's right.
business and yourself. Always be on top of your books and your finances, knowing when and where you can grow, and when and where you may have to, patch up a couple of the
That's
holes
right.
of the holes
That's
that you
right.
may have. So I think that we gave you guys some things to think about. We also spoke about some of the things that that we face, and we would like to hear from you as well. Our listeners, and our members. We would like to hear some of the adversities that you may have. It's we all go through it, and we're all in it together. And I tell you, there's not a business owner that I know anyway that isn't willing to share or willing to help or provide their expertise or their knowledge, if you just ask.
That's right. All right, man. So with that being said, you know how we do. We always segue at the end of our episodes into the current times or things that may
I'll
happen.
talk about right.
Yeah, man. I think this time being that we're pre-recording this, and it is going to air the day after July 4th, but tomorrow is July 4th. So Sosai and I said, this week would just be a perfect opportunity for us to talk about, and from my perspective, not exactly July 4th, but just independence as a whole. So that's the angle I'm gonna come at from today,
Yeah.
because I understand as a whole that the independence was from the British, but it was at the demise of the Native American. So we're going to put that part of it aside because that is a very touchy subject. So I'm just going to speak about overall the Declaration of Independence, that they wanted their freedom. And that is something that, despite the fact that there were a lot of atrocities that came at that cost, but the fact of the matter that people want their liberation and want to be liberated and want to be free, and having a declaration of independence, I think is something to be commended. People may not agree with how it was done, the spoils of war in that particular instance, but the fact of the matter is you had a group of people who declared their independence. So it always brings me back to me and my people, and then within myself, because I can't change everybody. I'm not here to change everybody. I'm not here to say that, everybody should do what I'm doing, but one person at a time, and me for myself is declaring my independence. And that was just opening up my business. That's where I felt that I was not independent at. So it may be something else for someone else and who's listening to us in their life. But we're speaking about the Entrepreneur Chamber. This is the Entrepreneur Chamber podcast. So the independence that I'm speaking about is from a W-2 to becoming self-employed. My independence. That was on December 7th, 2018. I wrote my Declaration of
Word.
Independence, and
Word.
I became free, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So,
Word.
that was my Declaration of Independence, and it's been hard. It's been challenging. Um, it's not easy. There's been times that I wanted to give up, pack it on in, go back to being the W-2 where, you don't have the stresses. But, I'm going to just go back to what I said. The common denominator that I hear about most successful people, I don't care if it's in sports, music, entertainment, authors, actors, you name it, business, you name it. They just never gave up, never gave up. So
Never give
that's
up.
me right there in a nutshell, y'all. That was my Declaration of Independence. It occurred December 7th, 2018.
I
Yes.
like that. That was right. My brother, I just was independent. The Declaration of Independence. My brother, I just was December 18th. Yeah, I mean, listen, 4th of July. Listen, man. I just chill out. Go put some things on the grill. I'm sure there's a couple I know there's a couple cookouts. Drink a couple beers, chill out. But independence. I mean, listen, this is the United States of America, so there is a lot. There's some controversy in our whole history. Without going into all that, we all know what they are. We all know what's been spoken about. We all know the history of our country. But we also have to recognize that we are very fortunate here and very privileged here in this country because we do have freedom of speech. We do have freedom of religion. We do have, freedom to come and go as we please. I mean, there's a lot of countries out there that they can't even come and go as they please. There's a lot of a lot of countries out there that don't have freedom of speech. That if they say certain things or they speak out against their government, they could be beheaded or put in prison. We luckily don't have that. We can speak against our own government. we can voice our opinions without any real fear of any retaliation, or I should say depending on where you're at, saying what you're saying. But we have that, and I think a lot of times we take that for granted. While this country is far from perfect, we I don't know too many places that are better. I haven't seen one yet. We have a long way to go. There's a lot of wrongs and a lot of not right things here in this country. But the 4th of July, we fought for our independence. And when any country gains their independence, it is something to be celebrated. Now we have a long way to go in the category of equality here in this country. But still, we have the right and the freedom to attempt to evoke that change. And some of these other countries don't have that. So I think we cannot take that lightly, and we should never take that for granted. And that's really just all I really just wanted to say as far as that's concerned. I really have nothing else to add other than I'm going to chill out tomorrow, drink a couple beers, and put some good food on that grill.
All right, y'all heard it, y'all heard it. To all of our listeners, and all of our listeners that are and viewers, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for tuning in to the Entrepreneur Chamber podcast. You have your two favorite co-hosts. You have Sosa for the people, and I'm Brother Just. And as always, I'm gonna ask my brother Sosa, if you would, sir.
Hey, you know what it is, everybody. You know what it is. As we always end this show, we have one simple request from you. Please continue to help empower us so we can help empower you.
Peace all and be victorious. Peace.
Gotta stay on point, baby.